Content marketing is a killer way to build brand, attract, and influence customers. But with so many content marketing channels to post across, most marketers' to-do list ends up looking something like this. Website content, blog content, Facebook posts,
Facebook groups, Facebook stories, Twitter posts, IG stories,
IG feed, IG reels, TikTok, email marketing to current customers, email marketing to prospects, podcast recording, video, stories, reels, shorts, white papers, LinkedIn, business LinkedIn, personal LinkedIn, email marketing to new prospects, outreach, guest blogs, digital PR.
Now to let you into a little secret, at Exposure Ninja, we love content. And we found a content marketing model that works really well for us and our clients. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. Buckle up, me ninjas. Here's how the best marketers create incredible content. And it's a 4-step process and it's really simple. The first step is to identify your target audience. So who are you going to be creating the content for? But more importantly, what sorts of topics do they really care about? What are their pain points? This is going to give you the ideas for the sorts of content that you can create. Now, once you've got some ideas, you need to validate them. So this is about checking to make sure that there is enough demand for the content topics that you're thinking about, so that if you produce that content, you're actually going to get some engagement, right? Now, we'll validate ideas by doing things like keyword research if we're creating content for search, to check how many people are searching for these things each month. Or if we're creating for social, we might use a tool like BuzzSumo to check, are people actually engaging with content about this topic? Once we've identified a topic our target audience cares about, we've validated that there's enough demand, then it's time for research. Now, research can be taking ideas and information out of your own head and getting them onto the screen. It can be talking to people in the company, or it can be going to do some research online. It can be running surveys, collecting data. Once you've done all that, then it's time to produce the content. So this could be writing, it could be filming, it could be recording audio. This process works, but the trouble is it's unscalable to do it for every single marketing channel. You can imagine going through that 4-step process for every post across all of these channels. Let's say that you're running 10 channels, you're posting 5 times per week across those 10 channels. You don't want to be doing that 50 times a week. You just can't do a good job spreading your energy so thin. So what ends up happening is people have to compromise in one of 2 areas. Either they typically don't do as much validation and they don't do as much research on the content they're producing, which means it gets less engagement, or they simply stop producing for some of their channels, which means those channels turn into a bit of a ghost town, and that's not a great look for your brand. Don't worry, there is a better way. Now remember our 4-step process for producing amazing content. Well, it's still the same, but this time, rather than replicate that process for every single marketing channel, we choose one long-form content channel to be our hub, and we do this process once. For Exposure Ninja and the clients that we typically work with, the long-form content hub is usually their blog. So we'll spend the time identifying the target audience, validating content topics, researching and producing content to go in long-form blog posts. By the way, I'm going to show you an example of this in just a minute. Now, it's going to take some time to put this initial hub content together, but that's okay. You're going to get really good leverage on this work later on. And remember, if you're using the old model, you're having to go through this exact process for every marketing channel every week anyway. So this is saving you a ton of time only having to do it once. But then once you have that hub content, you can pull out bits of it to repurpose across all your other channels. So imagine that your long form content is a blog post. Well, you might take out tips, quotes, and stats and turn this into posts on Instagram. Or you might run a survey about it to an audience that you've collected in a Facebook group, for example. You might record a podcast episode about it. You might film a video or run a webinar about it. You might send the full article to some of your existing customers in your email list. You might send out snippets of it to prospects in your email list. You might give it to your sales team to send to prospects they're talking to. You might run some PPC traffic to it. Now, of course, it's not quite as simple as just taking your long form blog post, posting about it on every social channel, and then writing a press release, hey, we've got a new blog. Just to be clear, that will definitely fail. So let me give you some nuance here. Let's look at an example from closer to home. Exposure Ninja. So we're a digital marketing agency, and one of the things that we do is we build e-commerce websites for store owners. Now, we identified a while ago that our target audience was asking a question: should I choose WooCommerce or Shopify to build out my e-commerce store? This is a difficult question to answer because there's lots of pros and cons to each platform, and they're 2 of the most popular e-commerce platforms in the world. So once we'd validated the idea, the first thing we did is we wrote the long form hub content. In this case, we wrote it as a really long form blog post with loads of info and guides to choosing between the 2 platforms, pros and cons of each, advice on how to switch. There's pictures embedded, there's videos embedded. It's an amazing post. Jess is an absolute hero, but she already knows it. Once we had this massive blog post, we could take out key elements of it and turn it into a video script. We posted that on YouTube and also Facebook, and we posted it to some Facebook groups that we run as well. We cut out parts of that video and turned them into vertical short form video, which we could use across stories, reels and shorts if we want to as well. We posted about the video and the blog on LinkedIn Personal and on LinkedIn Brands. We created a carousel post on Instagram with a few tips from the video. Then we turned the video script into a podcast. Then we sent an email out to our customers and our prospects, linking them through to the blog, the video, and the podcast. So notice how this target audience validation, research, and production thing happened once, but look at what we're able to get from that content just by repurposing it and making sure it's presented in a way that feels native to each of these different platforms. So remember, the target audience research, the topic validation, the topic research, and the production happened once. We then just repurpose and we reformat it to work in each different channel. But you need to do that. You can't just take the same information and just post it in different places. You wouldn't just read out your blog post as a podcast, for example. You might discuss it, or you might add some more context or detail in that you left out from the blog. If you're posting on Instagram, you might find a cool picture that represents what you're talking about. You might be wondering, Tim, do I really need to use all of these channels? Simple answer, no. Even using this model, running a lot of channels at the same time is a fair bit of work. So you're going to need to prioritize the channels that are most important to your business based on what you sell, how long it takes you to sell it, and who you're selling to. Of course, people selling you a particular channel will convince you that that channel is the most important thing in the world. If you're not posting 10 TikToks a day or you're not running a podcast, then you're a subhuman sloth and you don't even deserve to take up any space on the internet. Look at you. Did you even finish that chapter of your book in the shower this morning? Good news, normal person, you don't have to win every game in the world. Now, I would suggest prioritizing based on a channel's proximity to commercial intent, i.e., where are people hanging out, spending time before they decide to buy. Most of the clients Exposure Ninja works with tend to prioritize search because people are searching for the product or service that they're selling. So the hub content will tend to be blog or knowledge base. Of course, we'll also optimize the website content, we'll drive pay-per-click traffic to it, we might drive paid social traffic to retarget visitors who've been on those pages. And of course, email marketing, because email marketing re-engages dormant customers so they buy. And even with a relatively small number of channels like that, you can get some fantastic results. We've helped 8-figure clients grow over 40% in a year by dominating Google search using this sort of approach. Even running this many channels, it would have been completely impractical to go through that whole process for every single channel. So we use this hub and spoke approach to make sure we're getting the most leverage for our time possible. And by the way, if you want help with this stuff because you don't have the time or you're scared of getting it wrong or anything else, then subscribe to this channel and request a free review from Exposure Ninja. We're here to help, and we might even be able to help by doing this for you. So that's a model that you can use to do content marketing in 2023. Now, if you're watching this thinking, great, Tim, how do I actually find out what to write about? Well, check out this video. It shows you how to break your content into different funnel stages to move your followers and leads seamlessly through your sales process to become customers. So whatever you sell and whoever you sell to, you can use this model to do content marketing that actually grows your business. Drop us a comment if you've enjoyed today's video, and see you soon.